All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. It is November 8th. Hopefully everyone voted. So we have a really special guest tonight, Colleen Eddy. If you guys, I think all know her, but if you don't, definitely go follow her. Like her page is like awesome. Before we get started though, just wanted to remind you guys that our Core de Force test group, quote unquote test group, is starting this week. We're in prep week. Next week we're starting. If you didn't get your before pick and measurements and all that goody stuff to me, and your signed paper, send that to me, to my email. Go on the team page. It's all there. We have team spirit going on now, so get in that page, hype it up. There's a lot of cool ways that we can earn those points. I'm not going to go over all of that right now. Really, that's it that I wanted to, because I know Colleen has a lot of great information to share. So Colleen's a 7-star diamond in 2014. She was premier 2016. She was an elite coach, and I'm sure she's going to hit elite again this year. So Colleen is really, really awesome with overcoming sorry, I'm hearing myself talk and I'm like, where's that coming from? Colleen's really awesome with getting your mindset straight. And if you follow her on Facebook, she always does awesome live videos. They're pretty just like to the point, but they can zap you out of whatever funk that you're in. So thanks, Colleen, for joining us on the call. We really appreciate it. Take it away.
Hi, guys. So some of you might have heard this call last year, and if you did, congratulations, you stuck around for an awesome year. And for those of you who are new to the team, I hope to see you next year. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself and a little bit about my obsession with this topic. I did have acupuncture done today, so I have like this really weird headache right now. So if I sound like I'm like, oh, all over the place, it's kind of because like this headache is like squishing my head right now, but I'm gonna rock it and drink water at the same time. So we're talking about mindset. Perfect. It's mind over matter, right? So I've been a coach since July 2013, about almost 3.5 years now. It's wild and crazy. And for the things that you will see me post now online is literally the polar opposite of the person I used to be back in the day. So the things that I share with you about my background and where I've come from, what I've been through since I've been a coach, it's not to say, hey, look at me, look what I've done. It's to remind you on your hard days that you can get through it if I got through what I've got through. And I love the quote, every master was once a disaster. So if you guys think about that, think of every single coach or every single person in life, every champion, every Olympian. I don't know if you guys watched a lot of the Olympics, but they would highlight people who have come from nothing, who have overcome like losing family members and tragedies and sickness and all these crazy things. And so remember that the part of this journey is going to be tragedy, challenges, obstacles, and you can't be surprised when it happens. So I know and believe that mastering your mindset is the biggest way that you will see success in your life and business, because life is never going to play nice with us, right? Life is going to be crazy. Every single day, I'm sure we wake up and you feel like life is just punching you in the face and you're like, why? Why is this happening? And so today I want to teach you how to have a completely different perspective when challenges do come your way, because they're going to happen, right? So there's all the how-tos in the world out there of Beachbody World. 3.5 years ago when I started, there was no Zoom, there was no trainings, there were no getting started right checklists, there were no first 30 getting started right. Like, it was just kind of like you led with your passion and your excitement. And that's actually how I taught my team. I was like, guys, if you want to be successful, lead with your passion and your excitement. But what I found, what was missing, because I was teaching them how to hit Success Club, I was teaching them how to become diamonds, I was teaching them how to earn money. Why wasn't it happening? And I figured out that a lot of it was because their mindset was holding themselves back. So I'm 31 years old, a little bit about myself, a little background. I got married about 1.5 years ago. I was born and raised in the Boston, Massachusetts area, and now I live about 3,000 miles away from there in Lake Tahoe, California. So when I was born and raised, in Massachusetts, it was just a completely different life than what I have now. It's different out here. Everyone knows like California is like its own planet kind of. And so I tell people what you know is what you know. So if you've never moved, if you've never traveled, never experienced, never had tragedy, you don't know anything else. You're just in your little tunnel vision world. And I have explored, I have been on adventures, and I feel like because I put myself in different situations, different jobs, different places I've lived, I like to be adventurous and take risks. I've learned so much because of that. So the way that my parents raised me, and not in a bad way, but just kind of like an old-fashioned way, it was, and don't get me wrong, they gave me an amazing childhood. Like to a T, American dream life. I went to gymnastics. I went to private schools. I did any sports. I did camps. My parents came to my practices. Like I was so blessed with the life that my family gave me. But there was one little thing that they left out, and it was dreaming big beyond what society puts out there for us. And so I went to school. I got great grades. I was always on, the dean's list. When I graduated college, I got the fancy job that mom and dad told me to take. I built up my resume. I had a college scholarship. And I just had this idea that, okay, so after college, like you get a job and you work and you get married and you have kids and you get old. And like, then what, And I was like, wait, like there has to be more to that. And deep down inside, I knew that I was a wild child at heart. I loved to adventure, but I was always taught that you kind of stay in the lines, and they put me in this pretty little box of you go to school, you get good grades, you work, and you show up even if you hate your boss. And like, that's just what you do. So I did that for a long time. But when I turned 24, when I moved out to California, it was so different. So what I knew then started to change a lot. And I started to see, my friends, like they had their own businesses. Like people are just so creative. Not that the East Coast is not creative. I'm just saying it's a little different where I live. Like it's in the mountains. We hug trees. We love nature. It's just how it goes out here. And so I had all these friends who weren't going into a 9 to 5. I had these friends that were creating businesses. It's kind of, my husband's born and raised California. He just started his own clothing business. Like, it's crazy. Like, you would never imagine that this, at least on the East Coast, for me, in the world I lived in, I would have never thought of that happening. So I transferred my Verizon wireless job out here. So I was a retail store manager at the age of 23, doing great things. My resume was great. And guys, the salary that I made, I thought was like the coolest thing since sliced bread. I was like, I got this salary and it's safe and I got benefits. And like, and it's funny because the election is today and people think that like, healthcare and like who the president is going to determine the rest of their life. Reality check, you create your own success. Because even when I lived the American dream, guys, my life came to a screeching halt. Because when I moved out here, I ended up working for a terrible person. And that terrible person had full control over me because I was the employee. I wasn't the CEO. And I came into work one day, and just because she didn't like me, she figured out a way to, I don't want to say fire me, but I got laid off. So I walked into work one day of this job that I gave my all to, all my eggs in one basket, and I did everything I was supposed to do that mom and dad said, and I found out I lost my career job just because someone didn't like me. So that was a huge wake-up call for me. And it actually happened 3 times this month already, and it's only November 7th, I think it is, November 8th. It's happened 3 times on my team this week. I've had coaches lose their career jobs, and they were just like, oh my God. And I was like, I don't want to say told you so, but it's the reality of what's happening in today's world. Create your own success. Even if your job is safe, guys, build your Beachbody business or build another business. It is so smart to have that because if I had something like this back when I lost my job, I would have not gone through the darkest days of my life. So I want you guys to picture this. I hated my job. I lost my job. I was so stressed out during my job that I had stomach ulcers. That's actually how I found Shakeology. My now husband, then boyfriend, we went through some really tough times, and he was like he's Mr. Positive Rainbows and Butterflies. So I was like Debbie Downer, I hate my life, hate my job. So obviously there was not something matching up for us. So we had some time apart because I needed to get my shit together, and I needed to figure out a different way of thinking and living. So I was in $20,000 of credit card debt, no job, hot mess city. So what was I going to do? I promised myself from that moment that I would not give someone else control over my life. I decided that day to become the CEO. I wanted to create my schedule. I wanted to create my income because that $60,000 that I earned a year, I thought was like the coolest thing. It wasn't because I was still broke. And all the dreams that I had, that job kept telling me, no, you can't have that. You can't have that. No, you can't have Saturday off. And I was so sick of it. So that's when I decided to kind of look outside and get some inspiration from other people that were accomplishing the things that I wanted. So I'm always telling my team to be self-aware and claim what you want. If you want a dream car, if you want to take your family on vacation, if you want to have $100,000 in your savings account, if you want to give back to a charity, if you want to lead your church, if you want to be home with your kids, whatever it is you want to do, I want you to claim it. Put it out there to the universe. Tell your family, put it out there. Because if you just keep shoving it away, you are not fulfilling your passions and all the things that will make you happy. You want them for a reason, but we're taught to what? Just maybe later, maybe someday. And I decided to take a stand. So I share this with you because I was in a really dark place and I had to be willing to become a student. I had to be willing to become a student of growth. So for everyone that's going to Tony Robbins, I don't know if it was just the two of you or who was going, but you guys have to go in there with a completely open mind, as if you are like a kindergartner on your first day of school and you are going to learn from the smartest man on the planet, if you ask me. Go in there with an open heart and open mind and just let it flow. Just surrender. And that's kind of what I did at the beginning of my journey of coaching. I said, okay, I'm not successful right now. So whatever these successful people are doing, I've got to be willing to do. And the biggest thing that I've learned, and it's this entire talk, is there's a difference between successful people and unsuccessful people. And the difference is the way that they think. So tomorrow morning, guys, you are going to be an Olympian athlete. You are going to be Michael Phelps tomorrow. You're going to be Gabby from the gymnastics team. And I want you to ask yourself, what would this Olympian person do? Would they be like a slug in the morning, like, oh, I don't feel like getting up today. The stupid presidential debate thing, I don't even want to open my Facebook. Oh, I'm at Success Club too. Oh, I got to bring the kids into school. An Olympian athlete, an Olympian CEO, Carl Deichler, all these amazing, successful people, that is not what they're doing in their bed in the morning. I guarantee that they have trained their brain to get up out of bed. You can hit snooze once, whatever, get out of bed, get in the shower, listen to your PD, cook a healthy breakfast, work out, drink your shake, get your day going like an Olympian athlete would. And I can tell you right now that the first hour of your day is the rudder of your day. And if you want to be an Olympian at life and in your business, you've got to act like it. So I think sometimes we forget that being the CEO and being the boss of our own business is actually harder because there's no one watching over your shoulder. There's no boss being like, hey, how hard are you working? What's your attitude? If you went into work with a shitty attitude, your boss would be like, what's your deal? Probably fire you, write you up, whatever they do nowadays, you know? So you have to act as if when you wake up in the morning, your why is staring you straight in the face and that's your boss. Act like that Olympian athlete. So I know that there's a difference between the successful people and the unsuccessful people in the way that they think and also the way that they respond to life. So guys, when a challenge falls in your lap, I want you to think of this visual forever and ever and ever, and it's going to change your life. This is the only way that I was able to get through the highs and lows of my career, even before and during coaching. And I'll share some really raw stuff with you guys today too. But when this challenge falls in your lap, and it can be as big as cancer, death, tragedy, losing your dog, or as easy as a coach quitting. Because to me, that's easy now. It's their loss, not mine. Even if they're a diamond, okay, it's their loss. When this challenge falls in your lap, it is the universe poking you in the forehead saying, hey, you told me you wanted this and you needed this so bad. I need you to show me. And in that instant, you've got to stand up and show the universe that you want it. Because what do we typically do when a challenge falls in our lap? We go, ugh, why? I don't want to deal with this. But a successful person would do what? They would stand up and say, bring it on. Okay, let's look at the situation. What can I do to make this better? The other thing is, if you cannot control the issue, so typically issues tend to be external. For example, I technically cannot control who is going to be president. I cannot control that. I can do my best. But I sure with my one vote cannot control that. And it can drive people up a wall and all this energy goes into it. I will only control me. So when there's an external problem, you need to look inward. If you have a problem at work, you cannot change the people that you work with. As much as you'd love to strangle them or give them some PD or whatever it is, you can't. So you can only control you. your life will become so much happier and easier. If you see people just walking around life making it look easy, it's because they're only worried about one thing, and it's how they respond to challenges and how they control themselves. So Bonnie's one of my best friends, and I bet you guys are like, what the F? This girl just walks around with this huge cheese in her face all the time. How does she do it? We talk every single day. Do we have challenges? You guys saw what she went through recently. You guys probably saw what I went through this year. Like, guys, it was not any easier for me than it would be for you, but we choose to handle it and to respond differently because we want success, and we have to prove that we want it. And when we start to stand up to the challenges and when we fight back, the universe starts to give us things more abundantly. You have to work for it, but these crazy, weird, abundant things will start to happen in your life. So, when a challenge arises, guys, I want you to understand that mastering your mindset is like your insurance. It is insurance on your business so that when life happens, you're not going to crumble. I want you to conquer. But if you don't have a strong mind, if you're not doing your PD, if you don't feel like listening to successful people, shame on you. Those pieces of advice are there for a reason. I had to, again, at the beginning, be like, okay, successful person, author of the book, podcast, I will take anything that you have to give me. And the resources nowadays are endless. And I will learn from it. So, a personal example, and people ask me all the time, how did you do it? So October 2014, my husband was diagnosed with testicular cancer, and I'm kind of like a cougar. He's kind of like a baby. So that was pretty shocking news to us when we found that out. It was October, end of year, holidays. We didn't have a launch going on then. And it was really, really heartbreaking to me because I never dealt with something like that before. But I had to take the biggest dose of my own medicine because I've been speaking on this topic. And I'm like, okay, challenge fell in my lap. The trigger turned on. And I said, what does a successful person do? They practice what they can control and they focus on being grateful and positive. And I was like, but wait, my husband has cancer. Like, how am I supposed to do that? Right? That's what we typically say. And most people would say, hey, Rose, Jen, I can't work on my business right now. I have to go deal with my family, or I have to go help so-and-so. For me, it's the complete opposite, guys. And I'll tell you why. If I didn't do my PD, if I didn't get on these team calls, if I didn't dive into my team trainings, if I didn't do my workouts, if I didn't drink my shake, what would have happened? I would have crumbled. So I had to choose the most difficult thing and focus on what I could control. And I dove into my business. I gave back to my team. And when I did that, I felt better. You might think that you won't feel better by focusing on the business. And I'm not talking about like, go sell 1 million challenge packs. I'm talking about focus on our mission as coaches. It is grow and fulfill and love and serve others. I want you to think of when you give a gift to someone. Okay, you have this awesome gift you've been planning forever and you give it to someone. Who is more excited? You or the person getting it? You're like, oh my God, open it. I'm so excited for you to open it. When you give to others, and you're going to learn this at Tony Robbins, the secret to living is giving. So guys, when you're having a crap day, when you're the CEO, when you really take on that responsibility of being a CEO, you don't have the choice to play the me song. It's not about you. It's about serving others. And if you haven't led yourself first, if you haven't done your PD, if you don't feel so unstoppable about changing other people's lives, you have to focus in. I wake up every single day. It's really not about me anymore. It's about how can I teach other people to live a huge, big, awesome life and stop living in fear. Stop letting this thing up here rule our entire life. I want to help people take action. I want to help people feel confident. We're going to talk about confidence, fear, failure, all of that today. So, let's talk a little bit about how you master your mindset. So do you guys ever wonder how people do the unthinkable? And I'll keep using these Olympian athletes as an example because I used to be a competitive gymnast. So I did it for about 12 years. And when I see these women, they're more like girls, but when I see these women, you guys watch what they do, right? And you're just like, what did they just do with their body and how? And I want you to think of how did they accomplish that? They train, they practice, they train, they practice. And their coach says if you didn't get it right the first time, that's okay, do it again. They are literally training their brain to go in one direction, and it's goal. I want to hit my goal. I want to achieve this. And they are focused. So how do people do the unthinkable? They train their brain. So as humans, I'll assume, let's say we're all the average age of 30, 35, 25, 40. I have no idea. Okay, let's say we're 30, right in the middle. For 30 years, we have allowed our brain to create all these wires and beliefs and lazy habits of being nasty and having a bad attitude, rather than forcing ourselves to spoon feed ourselves a dose of positive reality. Life, after all, is pretty darn awesome. And if you don't appreciate it, someone has to give you a wake-up call. And sometimes, do you guys ever notice what happens when tragedy happens in someone's life? It's like their whole world changes. I don't want that to be the case. I want you guys to always be appreciative and be grateful so that the universe can abundantly give back to you. So when you're training your brain, when you feel like you want to get mad about something, I'm not saying you're never going to get mad, because trust me, I am crazy. When I get mad, it is like, watch out, world. But guess what? I get mad for 20 minutes, guys, and then I get over it. So the faster you can recover, the faster you're going to get to success. And for me, when I'm pissed, it fuels me. And how awesome we're in Core to Force right now. I've been telling my team every single day, you need to fight. If something today punches you in the face, if you were in a boxing ring right now, if something was to punch you in the face, would you sit there on the floor and say, woe is me, or would your butt get back up? I hope you would fight back. That's how you have to treat challenges in life and business. And what's crazy about this business is the bigger the goals, the bigger the challenges. So if you really, really want this, as much as we all say we do, you're going to have to say, okay, bring it on, big, huge, fat, scary challenges, and be willing to fight. But what I don't think people realize sometimes is when they're fighting, because they're putting up a fight, they feel like they're failing. Guys, you're winning. The more you fight, the more you win. There's a difference there. So this is one of my favorite things that I share with everyone on these types of calls. And it's kind of like, why should you care about me talking about mastering your mindset? Like, why should you give two hoots at all about it? So why is a strong mind crucial? And if you want to write this on your computer, write it in your planner, it has helped me so much. It was a big turning point in my business. Why is a strong mind crucial? Because people without a strong mind are dependent on others for validation. Imagine, guys, tomorrow if you just woke up and that pressure of consistently being judged and worrying, and what if this person this, and what if this person that, what if you just woke up tomorrow and you took the deepest breath ever and you confidently were able to be yourself every day, all day, and you got online and you wrote an amazing post about how you really felt and it was all good? How many of all of you would love to feel that way? I hope you all raise your hand, because it is honestly the most amazing feeling when you give yourself permission. Because your mind is so strong, you don't need validation from anyone else. So some people in this business are waiting for permission to go and do and be. They're like, but I can't. I don't really think I can. I'm not really sure. What if you just tried? What if we just stood up tall and we were fighting back and we just went and did it? What if you just tried that? What would happen? And when you're facing your fears, guys, you have to ask yourself the question, what am I going to gain or what am I going to lose? It's one or the other. So for example, if you're afraid to put up a before and after picture, what are you going to gain and what are you going to lose? You're going to inspire, educate, entertain, build trust with people. And guess what? Hold your ass accountable to getting that after picture. I had a coach for the first time in 3 years share a before picture. She's one of my best friends since kindergarten. She just wouldn't do it. And she finally did in Core to Force. And guess what? She's going to have an after picture now because she put it out there. So she had everything to gain by facing the fear. So this is going to be a daily task, guys. Just like, day one of insanity or day one of Core to Force, you felt like you were going to fall over and die, right? You're like, this is the hardest thing ever. But then you get to week 2 and it gets easier. Just like your body muscles, your brain muscle, you have to build that up over time. Teach yourself to catch yourself in the moment and master your mind. It is your responsibility to master your mind. It's not your 4-year-old's responsibility to stop having temper tantrums. It's your responsibility to master your mind. As much as we want to control other people, we can't. I'm a control freak too, but I just focus on myself and I teach people how they can live an awesome life. I focus on myself. I do all the growing I can. I get all the scary stuff out of the way, and then I share how I have gotten over crazy things in my life and how I've achieved what I have. So I'll share another story with you guys. So after my husband was diagnosed, fast forward to last year, so we thought we were in the clear, and the cancer had come back. So it's now December 2015, and it's like the holidays, like the real holidays, and I'm in 5-star elite qualification. And we find out on like December 14th that I have to pack up my life and move in with his parents because the cancer is back and attacking his lungs. And I'm like, universe, I heard you the first time, and I stood up loud and clear, and I again had to fight back for everything, for my husband, for my team. Like I would never, if you guys have coaches that you're signing up, it is not okay that you turn your back on them. They joined you for a reason, and I knew that people trusted in me for me to change their life too, or to help them. I can't do it for them, but I can help them. And so during those times, guys, because of this opportunity, I was able to sit with him in chemo every single day, go to the gym every single day, do this work, and it fueled me. Most people are like, but how did you do it? And I'm like, please tell me what else you would do. Like what? I could cry in my room every single day, or I could force myself to focus on something I can control. It made everything so much easier for me. Happier. My husband would rather see me working out, feeling good, and you guys know scientifically that working out provides happiness. It lets out those chemicals. And I needed that for me because he needed me. And then when I'm in the hospital, I was in the hospital with him, I got mono, and I didn't know I had mono. So guys, like I'm telling you, I've been punched in the face by the universe and life. But I took on this role, and I took on these challenges as I must be that guinea pig for the universe that is showing people they can do hard things. So for 8 months, I didn't know I had mono, and I was sick. But I was so worried about what we were going through that I was not focusing on myself. So I trained for the workout on stage with Autumn Calabrese, and I like really got sick. And I ended up getting blood work, and they're like, yeah, you have a really bad case of mono. So it was hard, and I felt like I didn't have a brain, and I thought something was wrong with me. But all I did, guys, this is my golden rule. I cannot do everything, but I can do anything. And so every single day, I did what I could. And if that meant me getting up and writing a single Facebook post and watching a training video and doing my PD for the day, I did my best. But if you choose to sit in your room and be upset and be mad and just not do anything, that's a choice that you make. And I want you to see, I'm not saying this to be rude or mean and beat you up about it. I want you to see the power in your choice. Like, oh, wait, I can go choose to do the workout right now. And a lot of coaches will ask me and they'll say, but I'm not confident, Colleen. Awesome news. You have a confidence account, just like your bank account. And every single day when you make a choice, you're adding to it or subtracting to it. So if I don't do a workout, I subtract because I don't feel good when I don't do my workout, right? It's like that guilt. I have to tell my challenge group I didn't do my workout today. If I get out on a live video and I share something scary, when I'm done, I'm like, oh, that was awesome. Yes, I did it. And I added to my confidence account. So this whole story of like, I'm not confident, I don't believe in me, I want you to know that you have the ability, the power, and the choice to change that. But you've got to say, universe, bring it on. You've got to be willing to do that. So when I talk to people about empowering themselves, you can take a step forward. I know that everyone has the ability to take one step forward towards their goals. Not everyone jumps in the pool like I do, rather than dipping their toe in the pool. I jumped in full cannonball style when I started coaching. I never looked back because I'll tell you why. I knew that if I kind of tried this, it wouldn't work. What would you say to a client if they say, hey, I'm going to try the 21-day fix, but I'm going to still drink my beer and I'm not going to drink Shakeology? You would tell them you're not going to get the same results. Same thing with coaching. If I kind of sort of try this for 6 months to a year and give it half-ass effort, I'm going to get what? Half-ass results. It's the same thing. So guys, I'm going to suggest that you do the cannonball in the pool, in the Beachbody pool, and fully immerse yourself. You will also learn that at Tony Robbins. You cannot learn anything without full immersion. If you're doing your PD and you're half tuned out and you're not really listening and you have audio playing, but you did your PD, are you learning anything? Full immersion, guys, is the only way to get results. Same thing with our fitness programs. So that's how you're going to empower yourself. You've got to dive in. And even for, like the hobby coaches, even if someone wants to get their Shakeology paid for or like earn a little extra, you still have to grow and learn and do the vitals. You just don't have to do as much of it. So just remind if you're mentoring coaches or bringing them on, remind them about that whole dipping the toe in the pool thing. Just jump in, see what it's like, and then you can tell me what you think. All right, let's talk about the big F word, failure. So a lot of people always tell me, oh, and I forgot too, I love questions at the end. So I hope that you guys have questions for me, because I hate when I just did this whole call and I'm all amped up and then everyone stares at me like deer in the headlights and they're like, what just happened? So I want you guys to think of questions that you can ask me. It doesn't have to be on mindset. It can be about anything at all. So yeah, just want to say that. But okay, so let's talk about failure. So when people tell me that failing is their biggest fear, so on my new coach questionnaire, I'll say like, what's your biggest concern? Or, what fears can I address for you? And they'll all say, what if I'm not good at this? What if I fail? And that's when I tell them, I have awesome news for you today. This is a different opportunity because you cannot fail. You literally can't. If I signed up on July 2013 and never sold a challenge pack or never made a sale, does Carl Degler call me up and tell me I suck and fire me? He sure does not. And I can make the decision tomorrow if I want to go out and message 10 people, make a scary post, do a badass workout. I have the choice every single day to make moves in my business. So this whole failing thing, the only time you fail is when you quit. So for anyone that was on this call last year that isn't now, they failed because they quit. That's the only time. So in this business, let's say you set a goal and then you're like, but Colleen, I missed my goal. I failed. No, you didn't. It's just a delay. If you don't hit elite this year, if you don't hit premier this year, if you don't hit diamond tomorrow, whatever your goal is, in this business, guys, it is what? Keep going, keep fighting. There's no expiration date. That is why I love this. So in our leader page in the wall, which is like 5-star and above, a coach had asked, hey, does anyone have an income or a income progression where they weren't successful in the beginning? You would be blown away by the amount of coaches in this group, names that you know, that if you were to see their first and second year income, you'd be like, wow, that looks a lot like mine. And then guess what? In their third year, it started to happen for them. But where do most people quit? 6 months, 1 year, year and a half, probably even before that. You've got to be willing. It's kind of like your 4-year degree. If you're like waiting for this big thing to happen, guys, full immersion, be the student, go through as much growth as you possibly can, and you've got to be here. So I always ask people, would you stick around and be a coach for 10 years if you could earn $1 million? And everyone's like, F yeah, I would. So why are you not working towards that now? Because you can do it in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. And I don't know if you guys are all like crazy lawyers, doctors, and work 7 million hours and make the big bucks, but there's no other job that's probably going to give you $1 million in 10 years. So my dad asked me that. I'm like, Dad, that's a good question. I'm gonna, because he's always into my numbers, and he's actually in my online office. He pulls reports for me, and he just thinks it's amazing, like the kind of money that Beachbody offers us. And so, he's like, we both are numbers freaks. And he's like, Colleen, whenever you're feeling down, just ask yourself this: would you stick around and do this for 10 years if you could earn $1 million? I'm like, yeah. I only earned like $60,000 in my other job, and I was miserable, so why not? Okay, so failure is only a delay. So if you're looking at like your first year, maybe, guys, you cannot compare your story to someone else's either, because maybe when you started, you were in a really rough place. And it took you a year to kind of stand up tall and get your confidence back. Maybe you went through something that put you through the ringer. Maybe your weight loss story was a really difficult journey for you. You've got to give yourself time. No expiration date. It's just a delay. It's not the end of the world. You have the power to make that choice. All right, and then the last thing is personal development. So there's 3 types of personal development that you need to fully immerse yourself in. The first one's obvious. It's what I call a me book. You are a badass, spirit junkie, anything that helps you personally. Those are the easy ones, though. The second type of personal development, because they're fun, right? You're like, ooh, I'm learning so much. The second one is a business book. So things like Go Pro, Go for No. If you guys really want to know my best recommendation, it's this book right here. It's 6 months to 6 figures. And I don't know how to say his last name, but it's Peter, Voogd. I have no idea how you would pronounce that. but 6 months to six figures. Don't do audio. Get the book because it's a workbook. And he just helped me set my next 6 months worth of goals, and he's helping me reverse engineer them. So yeah, it's happening. And I just love his real talk in there. It's a very new book because he's honest with us. He's honest about like where people's salaries are and, you know, where our heads are and where our actions are. And he's just very honest. And it's my kind of book. Another book too, if you're struggling with effort, if you're struggling with like, well, I'm putting all this effort in and I'm not getting the results that I wanted, I would suggest the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. That book was actually the book that I picked up in the airport. So when my husband went through chemo, my grandmother passed away on January 1st. I had to fly 3,000 miles across country. And I was like, universe, I am begging you, please give me a sign that it's going to be all good. And I don't know what it was, but I was in like the airport and this book stood out to me. And it's like this, it says the 10X Rule, like right across it. And a leader had recommended it. And they're like, it's awesome. You should read it. And I swear like the book had like an aura around it. And it was like, come get me. And it was a book that I read and I dove in. I was like, full immersion, Colleen, do it. Just eat it up. And I actually created an academy for my team based off this book to teach them how to have 10X results in their business. And it was absolutely amazing for my team. So that was another book I'd recommend for you. And then the third type of personal development, how ironic, you guys are going to Tony Robbins, is experience. You cannot hide behind a book and expect your life to change for 3 years. You got to get out there, all right? You got to have experience. When you guys go to Summit, that's human connection. When you guys hug your upline, when you hug your coaches, when you see the stories, the Beachbody Challenge stories, oh my God, I bawl my eyes out. Experience. So if it's out of your comfort zone, that's a good thing. I have 2 people on my team who have severe social anxiety, like freaked out at Summit, like hyperventilating, had to go back to her room. And I said, look, I know this is hard. I will stand here while you hyperventilate and cry. I just want you to take a deep breath and know I'm here with you. And now she's rocking it. She's hitting Success Club. She's losing weight. She's sharing her story. Why? Because she allowed the connection to happen. She allowed that experience to happen for her. And so, you know, if you've been a coach for 2 years and you haven't invested in personal development, your business will never get to where you want to go until you get to where you want to go. You are your business. So PD for me, guys, I could tell you all day long how to have conversations, how to get fitness results, but until you feel like you're going to scream it from the mountaintops and feel unstoppable, you've got to work on your mindset, your attitude, your beliefs, and all of that. And that's my spiel.
That was absolutely fantastic. And even though this is my second time, I probably listened to you more than 2 times. I took a notes. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Before I jump in and ask questions, I see Renee eyeing me up. I'll call her out anyways because she always has really good questions. Renee, do you have anything? Wait,
wait, you're muted. I'm good, but I'm not that good. I can't lip read.
Damn, it was going to be like a team building, you know, like read my lips, connect. So I would probably say I've only been a coach since, I guess, I should probably know this. I think March, April, something like that. But I'm definitely one of those people that was like, I'm going to be a coach and I'm going to build an empire and it's going to be amazing. And I'm like full immersion into it as much as I can with working.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Even like well, it's gross, but in the bathroom at work, I'm like, I got a message.
Oh yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
But so the personal development, I definitely, my uplines, Danielle, Lobby, and Rose helps me a lot too. And they were kind of like, you know, personal development, you got to do it. And I was like, yeah, you people are so hokey. All right. Mm-hmm. And she's like, positive affirmations, yell them from your porch. I'm like, no, I'm just not like that. So like for 3 months, I really didn't do any. And now I'm kind of, I did go pro as per my requirements for my Coach Basics and my Emerald to Diamond. I got those done, started Compound, couldn't finish it. I've started doing audio. So I really like obsessed Energy Bus. I finally got that, did that, the Audible. Rose sent me that. Loved it. Like that changed my view completely on personal development.
Good. Sometimes it takes a book or two, and so that's why I recommend a me book to coaches and a business book. Because if I started with compound effect, I was like, bleh. I'm like, I get it. If I eat a Mac every day, I'm going to get fat, like I get it. The compound effect, I didn't need the whole book for that. So, but then when I started getting into these books where the author was like talking to me, I was like, oh.
Yeah. I really, really liked the Energy Bus. I have You Are a Badass, but I'm just not a bookworm. So I think I'm going to try the Audible of that. But I'm finding it a little bit more challenging to find the time, like to find a perfect space to do that. Like when you're saying like you're listening to the Audible and you're like half listening and then I'm like, wait, what did he say? Rewind, try again, listen.
Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions? Like when do you do your personal event? Like I tried it. I already get up early, so I have to be at work by like 8:00. So I've got to leave my house shortly after 7. I'm up at like 5:15. I do like power pockets quickly. I got to get my workout done before I go to work or else it's never going to happen. Eat egg whites in my car on my way to work, posting at red lights like a psycho, sometimes putting on mascara at red lights and flossing my teeth all at the same time. So like, do you have any like idea or tips to when's a good time? I try it in the morning, I try it in the car, but I'm literally doing so many bad things in my car on my way to work. I want to stay steady with it, but I'm just not finding like a sweet spot to do it.
So I think like picking the right book will definitely play a part. So definitely listen to PD on like your way to work, whether maybe not do like the book necessarily, but listen to podcasts because you're going to be injecting your veins always with awesomeness. But for me personally, I always tell my coaches, like, get the book because there's something about writing in a book. So I physically write in my books. And so when I see something and I'm underlining it and I physically rewrite it, it's like it goes in my brain. And so even if you're reading like 10 pages a day of your book, and there's so many people that do Audible, but I really find that people are not like tuned in while they're doing that, So if it works for you, I don't want to say don't do it. Definitely listen like in the car or whatnot. So when you get home from work, like what does the other hours of your day look like? Or what does your weekend look like?
I have 2 little kids and a husband that works kind of crazy. So it's kind of hard, but the Audible thing has been easier, but that's the truth though. I've literally rewinded like Energy Bus and I'm like, I need that quote somewhere. Like, and I'm writing things down where if I had the book, I would have been able to highlight that up and
right.
So maybe I just need to find another book. Cause like Energy Bus, I found myself like, I need to listen. I need to hear more. So maybe I just need to kind of really come up with like a really good next book. Cause I did not believe but I did not believe a lot in the personal development stuff at all. And now I'm at work and I'm like, guys, we need to inspire and lead from the front. Our office manager, she's pushing from behind. That's not a leader.
That is so awesome. And I always tell people like PD is not even like people think of it like that too, right? And so for me, my PD was so that I could master my challenges. I struggled. I didn't have a team guy. I was a 1-star for 18 months, and it was my husband. So I didn't really have a team. 18 months and I kept going. PD for me was like, you got this, girl. You keep studying this. There's no way in hell that you're not going to be able to do this. So I never really had like a confidence issue or like any of that stuff personally. I had lack of confidence in my success for sure, but not like a personal thing. So for me, like PD, like when I felt like I was going to freak out, my PD was like my little comfy blanket. It was like my safety. So, maybe you need to do it when your kids go to bed. You don't have a distraction. Lots of successful people do it with kids, and I'm determined to have 2 kids and show people they can do this. You have to look at your schedule and say, out of my millions of hours during the week that I do have available, because they are out there, there's 48 hours in a weekend. Sometimes I ask people, I'm like, what do you do in 48 hours on the weekend? Like, we're asking for 10 to 15 minutes a day of sitting down and just reading. So you might have to schedule it in. Like, you might have to be a Melanie Mitro and schedule that in. You might have to do it that way.
Thank you.
Yes. Are you going to Tony Robbins too?
No.
Oh, okay.
I would love to. Okay, so I also have not read. I don't quite know. I know a little bit about Tony Robbins, not a lot.
That's all right.
I'm telling
You
you,
have to be ready for Tony Robbins. you'll get to a point in your business where you're like, all right, I want next level. What do I do? And until you're there, you don't need Tony Robbins.
I feel like I'm getting there with it. Like, I know I want to take it up a notch. It took me a little bit to come into the whole personal, and not to sound like a jerk, but like, confidence is not my thing. I will talk to strangers. I put my before and after up. Like, I was a hot mess. Do you see this? Disaster. Do you see like that? I talk to people. I talk to strangers. Like, I was just kind of like, no, I'm good. But now I'm like, after hearing so many top coaches and listening to podcasts and all the national wake up calls, I'm like, all right, next level needs to happen.
Yeah. And like I was saying, the PD is mainly so that come February, I will assume your business will advance. But like, let's say you're like, hey, like what happened? It's not where I want to be. That's what PD is for. Like, to get you to understand that you just got to keep going. I wish that I could just tell that to people. Like, here's your PD. Just keep going. Okay, bye. But
it really makes a difference. But you have to like, it has to happen to you for you to get it. Because for a while when they were telling me, I was like, yeah. I'm totally reading it. Totally reading it.
Right. And to be honest, I made a video yesterday. I tell people that you want to have vision and you want to have drive, not that you don't. I'm just saying hey, I'll do anything to be successful. Like, I will do PD. If you didn't have your job, that would change. You would say, oh my God, I will do anything I have to do. When I lost my job and I refused to go back, my back was against the wall. So, when people have kids or when life events happen, when cancer happens, when tragedy happens, people's perspective change. So if you're very comfy right now and like this Beachbody thing is what you want, but you're not pushed up against the wall, you're going to do it your way. That's what I tell people.
Yeah, it's so freaking true. And I just got pushed against a wall. And now I'm like, I need to step it up. Now, Rose, what are we doing? And
you got it, girl.
How's your husband?
He's good, thank you. I always forget to say that. So after all that craziness, we did the chemo, we did all his tests. He actually has a follow-up tomorrow, one of his second scans. So he is clear as of now, and we just have to keep monitoring. And now we get to like have babies and stuff. So
yay! Have fun practicing.
Thank you. I'm sure he's looking forward to that.
Well, I will say, Renee, like for me, audio was always the way to go because I was, in my car for like hours and hours on end. But when I started working, at home full time, for me to get that in, it got tough for me because I had all the other crap to distract me. But now I say, all right, if I can read for 10, 15 minutes in bed, like I have to go to bed, right? Like I have to go to bed at some point. So that's how I end my day is reading. And sometimes I go for an hour because, you get into it and then I wake up happier. So that's always helped me. Did anyone have any questions or comments? Don't make me call you out.
I think Courtney's raising her hand.
I have a question. Sorry, I lost my voice for a second.
That's okay.
You said something about doing podcasts because I have the same problem with like I can't get into the compound effect. I'm trying really hard, but I have You Are a Badass, and I can read that one a little easier, but I also want, in addition to reading a book, I also want to have like a daily thing that I listen to. So do you have like any podcast like series that you would recommend?
Yeah. I also want to tell you guys too, the compound effect is like, I think I could sum it up in one sentence. So Darren Hardy made a new book this 2015 called The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. It is the Beachbody New Coach Bible, pretty much. It is like everything. And so I actually tell my coaches, like, some people, the compound effect changes their life, but Entrepreneur Roller Coaster is amazing. So get that one to answer your question. I'm going to open my podcast right now because I just started a new one. So I don't know what your personality is, but I'm like clearly an in-your-face, get-it-done type of person. Like scream at me and I'll like run faster. So I'm going to share my favorite ones, okay? So why are these not in order? Okay, these are in no particular order, my favorite ones. To help with your business, if you are looking for a specific topic, he's not a Beachbody coach, but he is an amazing entrepreneur for our industry. It's called Your Virtual Upline Podcast, and it's awesome. They're quick and to the point. The other one that I absolutely have loved is Entrepreneur on Fire. And I like that podcast because he brings on all these successful entrepreneurs, not to talk about their successes, but to talk about their failures. So just when we think that like we're doing big, scary things, And then there's entrepreneurs out there like losing $4 million on their business. I'm like, yeah, that's failing. Posting your picture is not failing, guys. Like, so it was just a big, like, I'm all about like business CEO. Like, I'm going to the top. And when I mean the top, I don't mean number one coach. I mean, like, I want to hit my goals. So I'm all about like what other entrepreneurs have done, and I soak it up. So I love that one. Why can't I find, hold on, I got to find this guy's. I'll have to ask my husband. We just listened to it together. Hey, Sean. Sean, what's the name of that podcast? What's the name of that podcast? Okay, I got it. It's vulgar, okay? So, like, if that's your thing, listen to it. If not, do not go there. But it's the MF CEO podcast.
His name is Andy Frisella. Frisella.
There you go. We just learned about it from another entrepreneur friend. And again, super vulgar. Like, he could probably leave about 1 million F-bombs, but it's just like major reality check. So, and you guys will learn at Tony Robbins that Tony Robbins swears, and he does it for shock factor. So you're staying there for 14-hour days, and when he drops an F-bomb, you're like, whoa, what just happened? So those are my favorite podcasts. And I was not a bookworm until I started coaching. Like, I never read a book. I thought reading was like Harry Potter, and I'm like, no thanks. So when I started reading these books, I felt like the author was talking to me. So really, like, whatever it is you need as a coach, make sure you guys are finding that book. Spirit, if you guys want to get in touch with yourself and you're willing to get a little spiritual, and I don't mean religious, I just mean like get down with what's going on inside, and most of us need to do that. Spirit Junkie is amazing, or her newest book, that's by Gabby Bernstein, is The Universe Has Your Back. This is like everything to me. This is what I preach on my team. So those are my recommendations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think someone else had a question. Haley, did you have a question?
Yeah, hey, I have a question. Okay, so I loved what you said about like a 4-year degree and comparing it to that in like college, because I never really thought about that, because you think, you know, you're going to hit your goal in the next 6 months or year or something, and you don't, you're like, oh, crap, stuck again, you know? So I love how you said that, but my question is like, so I've been in this for like almost 2 years coming up, but I've really only been doing like business stuff and hitting Success Club for the past year, like since January. And
well, congrats on that.
Thanks. 2 more months in All-Star, so I'm gonna do it. But my question is like, you know, now that I've kind of been in this, people are seeing, they're responding to my posts, they're commenting, saying such an inspiration, you know, when I go out and see them at sporting events, things like that, they're always like, wow, you're so inspiring. I wish I could do that. Or, wow, you're such an inspiration. And I'm just like, thanks. But like, I want it to be more than that, you know, like I want them to realize I'm doing this to help them get on the train. It's just like, okay, I'm not just doing this just to do it, to be an inspiration, you know, like do you have any like ideas for things of how you respond to that? I don't know. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And it's actually, and Cindy, to answer your question, it's the MF CEO podcast. Sorry, that popped up. So it's so awesome. This is like the best question ever to like wrap up the call. I mean, I could talk for an hour and a half if you guys want me to, but I respect everyone's time. So I'll assume you guys do an hour. But so I had this amazing, do you guys know Kim Carver? If you haven't met him, you need to. He's amazing. We call him the Coach Whisperer. He's coming to my team retreat. I'm so excited. So I called him like right before Sean's diagnosis, and I was like really stuck in my business. And it was so funny because like that struggle pushed me through my business. And I had a call with him. I remember sitting in a parking lot, and I'm not a crier. When I'm mad, I cry because I want to like punch things. And so I'm on the phone with him, and I'm like, oh my God, am I seriously about to cry? And I was like, Kim, like I'm doing everything in my power. You know, I do everything I can. Like, I just feel like unsure that if I'm doing this right. And he goes, all right, I want to let you in on a little behind the scenes stuff that we work on. So there's 2 hats you wear in this business. There's a coach hat, which is I drink Shakeology, I work out, I read PD, I'm inspirational, I post on social media. And then there comes a time where you're the CEO. And when you can really figure out how to have that heart and that hustle at the same time, have that healthy balance. So what you'll start, so when someone says that to you next time, whether it's a comment in person, I want you to think of, how can I teach what I know to this person? Do you have an environment? Do you have a way to help them? So, we're all Beachbody coaches, but someone's going to go to you for the reason of your mission. So what's your mission statement? So when people ask me, I'm like, to be honest, I love to help people understand that whatever their dream big goals are, I want to help them work towards that every single day, and it's a journey. Every single day I work with them. So I help them first dream big, I help them take action, and I show them what they need to do to feel good, to feel confident, to be happy, to be healthy, and I'm all about growing that bank account. Because I know money is not a servant to me, or sorry, I said that backwards. Money is not a master to me, it serves me. And so I help people understand that. So I want you to figure out, what's your mission? So really all you have to do, if you're a coach hitting Success Club, guys, could you imagine if we could just find like 10 more of us hitting Success Club? All you have to do is find people who are willing to learn what you know as of today. So if you've been really coaching since January, how can you teach people what you've known or learned since January? You have to find a platform. You have to find an environment. I want you guys to think of, where's your classroom? How are you teaching? How are you leading? And what are you teaching them? So when I talk to people, I'm not going to come up with like a script for you, but for example, your 10-second elevator speech of why you love what you do and how you'd love to help them. So, hey, Haley, you're such an inspiration. If someone said that to me, if I was you, I'd be like, you know what? Thank you so much. I really, really love this journey. I've learned so much about myself, but now I'm not going to be the coach. It's not the me song. Tony Robbins is going to teach you that. Stop playing the me song. He's going to say, the secret to living is giving. So how can you give back to this person? And so you would say, you know what? I love to help others. I don't know if you're a mom or what your situation is, but I love to help busy moms who have 2 kids, who work full time, learn how to eat healthy and do personal development and grow an online business. I am so loving what I'm doing right now. Come up with your 10-second elevator speech, because leadership, guys, is transferring the belief that you have to others. That's the skill you have to learn. We talked about that at leadership. It was awesome. So I have all the belief in the world. We're jumping up and down. We're like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Everyone has to do it. If you don't do it, you're stupid. No, we don't say that, but we kind of think that, right? And so if we can transfer that belief to them, we have to teach them the how, the why, the where. So run free groups. And I'm not talking about drink water and do free eating. Like, what's your mission? Teach people in 5 days how you've been able to go from where you were in January to where you are now. Break that down and create an online business. Like think like the CEO does, Does that make sense?
Almost like reverse engineer, like what I've kind of been doing.
Right, exactly. And like sometimes we'll try to sell like, I'm going to earn 6 figures someday and I'm going to be my own boss. You're not there yet. And even like though I don't sell that to people. Mm-hmm. I want to sell them, get started, get results, see your life change.
Yeah.
If I can get them to there, golden.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. That makes so much sense.
Yeah. So come up with that 10-second elevator speech to really answer your question. If you see them in person, and then get comfortable in like, hey, I'm actually running it, because you run a group every month, right? Mm-hmm. I'm actually hosting a group next month. Anyone that loves what I do, I always tell them, start in a group with me. If you want to talk about coaching, sure, I'd love to talk about that.
Awesome. That makes sense. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And congrats on almost all-star. You're already an all-star in my book. Any other questions? I'll take one more if you guys want.
Last call, guys. Don't be shy. So I'll ask Colleen a question.
Cool.
So we have a lot of successful people on our team, but sometimes life happens. How do you come back from maybe your team falling apart?
So 2015, I was on track to hit elite. I did hit elite, but I had 4 diamonds quit. Like BFF from material, hitting Success Club, achieving their goals. It wasn't like they were struggling. Like what just happened? And so what I've learned not like, I only know this, guys, because I went through it. So you have to remember that having that experience is a good thing, because if I didn't have that experience, I wouldn't have an answer. So now when this happens to you, because I promise it will happen, people will quit, your best diamonds, your best star diamonds. It just happens like that. We want to keep them all around forever. But if I set the expectation with you guys now that it will happen, then it's much easier. You're not like, oh, my life is over, right? So I have learned that I have to have a healthy business. So I really try to always bring on new people. So if I have people that drop, if I recruited 2-3 people last month, that's okay. I can focus on working with them. There's really no easy answer when people quit and your whole team quits, other than me just saying, you've got to be willing to fight back so that someday when you have a team and their coaches quit, you can say, girl, I've been there. And it is hard. I know. We can only focus on what we can control. Janelle Summers just spoke on my uplines call this past week, and she's like, guys, I have people quit all the time. And, you know, she's like she's, I think, the highest earning coach in all of Beachbody. She's like, people quit on me all the time. And all I know is that I have to bless and release and make sure that I always have a healthy pipeline of people. So the easy answer, again, when, like, if your whole team falls apart, is it the end of the world? Like, are you fired? Are you a failure? No. Is it hard? You bet your ass it is, but you're a fighter and you got to come back and you'll have a story to tell. Like, imagine if you guys just signed up 25 coaches and they were all diamonds and you're like, yeah, cool, whatever. You wouldn't have a story to tell. You wouldn't have a fight to put up. You wouldn't have a challenge and say, look what I did. So that when your team struggles, you can really, really align with them and help them. And you can teach them how you overcame it. So for me, there was a certain point in my business where I maxed out on Facebook friends. I didn't grow a like page and my Instagram sucked. So I had to put on my big girl panties and I had to learn how to run a like page. And I said, I'm a business owner. I'm a CEO. I have to adapt to the market changing. Guys, this business changes all the time. You have to be willing to be flexible. You got to go with because a lot of people are like, wait, there's a problem. And Tony Robbins is going to teach you that the problem isn't the problem. The problem is that you think there's a problem because there's a problem. The problem is always going to happen. It's going to be there no matter what. So the expectations of the challenge really changes everything. So no magic sauce answer other than have a healthy pipeline, personal development. If you have a strong mind, those people quitting aren't going to crush you. You're prepared. You're a business owner. You have that insurance.
Awesome, awesome stuff. Well, thank you so much for your hour and a half. This was amazing. I hope everything goes well with your husband and the house buying and all that fun jazz.
Thank you. Adulting, you know?
Yeah, right? Adult life. All right, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys. See ya.